The tension in the Forrester Creations showroom had been growing for weeks, like a storm cloud over Los Angeles that refused to clear. Electra Forrester stood there, her hands quivering slightly as she grabbed the edge of a display case packed with sparkling jewelry designs, her ideas, which she had worked on with her Aunt Ivy. The room smelled slightly of costly perfume and fresh-cut flowers, the type Steffi insisted on having delivered to keep the ambience inspirational. But inspiration seemed like a distant memory today. Everything seemed contaminated. Ivy Forrester leaned against a nearby desk, her posture comfortable, almost too casual, as if she hadn't just been cornered by Daphne Rose minutes before. Daphne, with her sharp eyes and even sharper tongue, had finally revealed the truth that had been gnawing at Electra's thoughts. The letter. The one Electra had written in a moment of raw weakness, pouring out her apologies, love, and urgent request for Will to meet with her and talk things out. She had left it in what she thought was a secure location, where only Will could locate it. But Will never arrived. He never replied. And the necklace, which she had given him as a symbol of their commitment, had inexplicably reappeared on the floor, as if planted as a betrayal clue. Electra's chest squeezed as the pieces snapped into place. Daphne had not minced words. "Your aunt took it," she had stated gently but forcefully. "I saw her slip it into her pocket. She wanted you to think Will ignored you. She wanted the breakup." The words replayed in Electra's head, drowning out the faint hum of the air conditioning. Ivy saw the shift in her niece's expression right away. The older woman's smile faded briefly before she tried to recover with her flawless Australian accent, which usually enchanted everyone around her. "Electra, darling, what's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost." Electra didn't immediately respond. She stared at Ivy, truly stared, remembering the lady who had taken her in, guided her through the harsh world of fashion and family strife, and taught her how to stand strong in a room full of Forrestos and Logans. Ivy had been her guardian, confidant, and the one person who appeared to grasp the significance of holding the Forrester name despite not being born into its core tradition. But suddenly that protection seemed like control. That counsel appeared to be manipulative. "You took it," Electra said quietly, her voice scarcely audible at first. Then it got louder and more steady. "The letter. You stole it." Ivy's eyes widened, but she could not deny it right away. Instead, she pushed off the workstation and moved closer, palms lifted in a placating motion. "Electra, listen to me. I was looking out for you. Will has hurt you time and time again. The way he was with Dylan. Don't." Electra cut in, her voice cracking like glass. "Don't you dare bring Dylan into this. You twisted that too. You made me believe he was cheating, that he didn't care. You planted doubts. You fed me lies. And then you made sure I thought he abandoned me when I needed him most." Ivy's face stiffened, and the mask began to slide. "I did what any aunt would do. I saw you heading for heartbreak, and I tried to steer you away. RJ is right there, kind, stable, a real Forrester. He cares about you. Will is he's Bill Spencer's son. Chaos follows that family." Electra felt heat rise in her cheeks, a flush of anger and betrayal that blurred her vision at the edges. She recalled all the evenings she had sobbed herself to sleep, sure she wasn't enough for Will. She reflected on their disagreements and the gap that had built between them as a result of Ivy's miscommunication. She remembered the letter she had written with trembling hands, full of love and forgiveness, but never delivered. "You didn't steer me," Electra remarked, her voice rising. "You controlled me. You decided what was best for my life, without asking me. You played God with my heart." Ivy took another step forward, reaching out to touch Electra's arm. "I love you. Your family. I couldn't watch you throw yourself away for someone who doesn't deserve." The smack came quickly, almost instinctively. Electra's hand struck Ivy's cheek, causing a piercing crack that rang throughout the showroom. Ivy jerked back a step, palm leaping to her face, eyes wide with surprise. The sound seemed to linger in the air, stronger than any dispute they had ever had. Electra's palm stung, but it didn't feel as bad as the anguish in her chest. She looked at her aunt, the lady who had once been her hero, now scarred by the crimson imprint of her hand. Electra's eyes welled up with tears, not out of remorse, but because of the finality of everything. "Get out of my life," she said, the 6 syllables sounding like stones in quiet water. They were simple, direct, devastating. Ivy froze. Her mouth opened, closed, and reopened, but no sound emerged at first. The color drained from her face, making her appear older and more fragile than Electra had previously seen her. "Electra, you don't mean that." "I do," Electra responded, her voice firm and chilly. "You crossed a line. You didn't protect me. You used me. You made choices for me that weren't yours to make. And because of you, I almost lost the one person who truly sees me. I hurt him. I pushed him away. All because I believed you." Ivy's eyes welled up with tears, but she blinked them back fiercely. "I thought I was saving you. What was going to break your heart again? I saw the signs." "No," interrupted Electra. "You saw what you wanted to see. You wanted me with RJ because it fit your vision of what my life should be. A nice, tidy Forrester match. But love isn't tidy, Ivy. It's messy. It's painful. And it's mine to navigate, not yours." The quiet stretched between them, heavy and oppressive. The elevator dinged in the distance, but neither woman moved. The showroom felt smaller as the walls closed in. Ivy eventually spoke, barely above a whisper. "I never meant to hurt you like this." "But you did," Electra responded. "And you can't take it back. The lies, the theft, the manipulation, it's all out now. Daphne saw you. She told me everything. And even if she hadn't, I would have figured it out eventually. Because the truth always comes out in this family." Ivy looked around the room as if looking for an escape, for some ally to swoop in and defend her. But they were alone. No Steffi, Ridge, or Eric to mediate. Just aunt and niece, facing the devastation of their relationship. Electra took a long breath to stabilize herself. "I trusted you. More than anyone. I came to LA because of you. I built this life here because you promised it would be different, better. And you turned around and sabotaged the one good thing I had." Ivy phoned her again, tentatively. "Please. Let me explain. Let me make it right." Electra took a step back, shaking her head. "There's no making this right, not anymore. You don't get to decide my future. You don't get to play puppet master with my relationships. And you don't get to stay in my life after this." The sentences were weighty and final. Ivy's shoulders fell. The fight drained from her. She appeared little, reduced. The confident, gorgeous designer who had marched into rooms as if she owned them was gone, replaced by a woman dealing with the consequences of her decisions. Electra turned away, unwilling to look at her aunt anymore. She moved toward the entrance, her heels softly tapping across the glossy floor. At the threshold, she paused without turning around. "Don't follow me," she stated quietly. "Don't call. Don't text. Don't show up at my door. We're done." She didn't wait for an answer. She pushed through the door and into the corridor, the cool air hitting her face like a slap on its own. Tears flowed down her cheeks, hot and unrelenting, but she didn't wipe them off. Let them fall. Allow them to detoxify. Behind her, Ivy stood immobile in the showroom, hand still held to her flushed cheek, staring at the vacant doorway. The smack resonated in her thoughts, but the 6 words went deeper. "Get out of my life." They slammed a door shut, burned a bridge, and destroyed a family tie with savage precision. Electra approached the elevator and pressed the button with shaky fingers. When the doors opened, she went inside and rested against the wall, closing her eyes. Her mind rushed through memories, good ones, like Ivy teaching her to sketch ideas late at night, laughing over coffee, and feeling like she finally fit in. Those recollections are painful now, warped by betrayal. But there was more to the suffering. Resolve. Clarity. She had let others to define her future for far too long. Her mother, the family drama, and now Ivy. No more. The elevator descended, transporting her away from the confrontation and from the lady who had impacted so much of her life. When the ground floor doors opened, Electra went into the crowded foyer of Forrester Creations. People strolled about her, oblivious to the earthquake that had just struck upstairs. She took out her phone, her thumb hovering over Will's name. She hadn't spoken to him properly in days, since their misunderstandings had created a schism between them. However, now that she knew the truth, she felt compelled to rectify it. "I'm sorry." To start again, without the shadow of deception. She composed a simple message. "We need to talk. The real truth. Please meet me." She sent it before she could second-guess herself. Outside, the sun was setting in Los Angeles, creating an orange and pink sky. Electra headed for the exit, head held high despite her tears. She had no idea what would happen next, whether Will would forgive her, the family would divide further, or Ivy would leave town, as gossip predicted. But for the first time in a long time, she felt in command of her own narrative. The slap, and the words were more than just the end. They were the beginning. A unpleasant yet necessary one. And, as she stepped into the twilight light, Electra Forrester felt the weight lift slightly. The storm had broken. Now came the aftermath, with whatever healing it may offer. The afternoon light streamed through the wide windows of the Forrester office, leaving long golden shadows on the polished floor. Outside, Los Angeles was alive with the regular cadence of traffic and faraway voices, but within the skyscraper, the air felt eerily calm. Something was on its way that neither of them could quite put their finger on. Electra stood near the conference table, her arms securely wrapped across her breast, her face more intense than anyone in the room had ever seen. For days, she had a silent suspicion in her mind. At first, it was just a vague disquiet, the kind that arises when a story doesn't quite fit together. Ivy had been acting strangely, too cautious with her words, too fast to change the conversation whenever certain names were mentioned. Electra had attempted to dismiss it, telling herself she was hallucinating. But the feeling did not go away. Then the truth began to emerge. It began with a message that was not intended for her eyes. A phone was left unattended. A half-heard talk in the corridor. At first, the individual pieces had no meaning. But combined, they painted a picture that made Electra's stomach turn. Ivy knew something. Worse, she had been disguising it. Electra had spent the entire morning reviewing every contact she had with Ivy in the previous few weeks. Everyone smiles. Each encouraging word. Everyone promised that everything was all right. Those memories felt poisoned, like luscious fruit that had become bitter. When Ivy walked into the office that afternoon, Electra was already waiting. Ivy paused when she seen her. Something in Electra's gaze caused her to hesitate. "Electra?" Ivy spoke cautiously. "I didn't realize you'd be here." Electra didn't respond straight away. She merely stared at Ivy, analyzing her face, as one might a stranger they thought they knew. The hush lasted so long that Ivy shifted uncomfortably. "What is going on?" Ivy inquired. When Electra eventually spoke, she did so quietly. Ivy frowned. "I think you should tell me." "Tell me what?" Electra took steady, methodical steps forward. "The truth." For a moment, Ivy said nothing. Her attention shifted away and then back again. "What truth?" she asked. The question merely caused Electra's jaw to stiffen. "Don't do that," Electra advised. "Don't pretend you don't know what I'm talking about." "I really don't." "Yes, you do." Electra's voice pierced the air like a blade. Ivy crossed her arms, defensively. "Electra, if you're upset about something, we can talk about it like adults." Electra laughed without amusement. "That's funny," she replied. Ivy blinked. "What's funny?" "The concept that you want honesty now." Ivy's face flickered with panic, slight but evident. Electra spotted it right away. And in that moment, the final brittle thread of uncertainty snapped. "You lied to me," Electra replied. Ivy shook her head rapidly. "No, I didn't." "Yes," Electra insisted. "You did." "Electra." "I heard the call." The words hit hard between them. Ivy's face had lost its color. For a few seconds, she did not speak. Electra made another stride ahead. "That message you left," she said, her voice wavering slightly despite her attempts to remain calm. Ivy choked. "You thought no one would hear it." "You said you knew," Electra continued. "You said you knew the whole time." Ivy finally found her words. It's not what you think. Electra gazed at her. That sentence, the typical defense, merely added gasoline to the fire that was already burning inside her. Then explain it, Electra asked. Ivy paused. Her quiet was enough response. Electra's heart raced in her chest. Anger, hurt, and betrayal all rushed together, making it nearly impossible to breathe. How long? Electra requested. Ivy stared down at the floor. How long had you known? Electra repeated. I was trying to protect everyone, Ivy admitted softly. Electra's eyes widened with disbelief. Protect everyone? She echoed. Yes. Electra shook her head slowly. No, she replied. You were protecting yourself. That's not fair. Electra's voice raised. You stood there, looked me in the eyes, and assured me everything was great. I didn't mean to hurt you, but you did. Electra shot back. The words resonated against the walls. Ivy was desperate now, seeking for something, anything, that may calm the storm raging in front of her. You don't understand the situation, she said. Things were complicated. They're not complicated anymore, Electra said coldly. Ivy took a step toward her. Electra, please. Just listen, Electra said, holding out her hand. No. You've said enough. Ivy's eyes welled up with regret. I was going to tell you, eventually. Electra requested. What happened after everything fell apart? That is not what I wanted. So, why keep it from me? Ivy's voice wavered. I thought it would destroy you. Electra glanced at her, startled. The words hung in the air, like smoke. For a brief period, something fragile appeared in Electra's expression. Her fury was suddenly shown to be fueled by pain. Then she remembered the message. Secret discussions. Weeks of deception. Her expression stiffened again. You don't get to decide what destroys me, Electra stated gently. Ivy stretched out, as if to touch her arm. Electra drew away swiftly. Don't, she replied. I'm sorry, Ivy muttered. Electra shakes her head. You're sorry you got caught. That's not true. Electra's rage finally snapped. Before Ivy could respond, Electra's hand moved. The harsh crack of the slap reverberated across the room. Ivy stepped back, surprised, and one hand sprang to her cheek. For a minute, neither of them moved. The hush that followed felt deafening. Electra's chest lifted and sank quickly as she looked at Ivy. Ivy's eyes were filled with shock, pain, and bewilderment. I deserved that, Ivy remarked gently. Electra did not soften. She took a step forward, her voice quiet but angry. You knew the truth and lied. The 6 words seemed like a verdict. Ivy closed her eyes briefly, letting the weight of them sink in. When she opened them again, tears started to form. I never meant for things to go this far, she told me. But they did, Electra answered. I thought I could fix it. You can't fix lies. Ivy wiped her eyes. I was scared, she said. Electra's expression remained frigid. Scared of what? Of losing everything. Electra chuckled cruelly. You should have thought about that before you betrayed me. I didn't betray you. Yes, Electra answered with conviction. You did. Ivy attempted again. You don't know the whole story. Then tell it. Ivy paused. The pause said volumes. Electra's patience was depleted. See, she stated. Even now, you're still holding something back. It's not that simple. It is to me. Ivy took a hesitant breath. I was trying to prevent something worse from happening. Electra's brows furrowed. What does that mean? It means that if the truth had been revealed sooner, people would have been wounded. They are already hurt. I know. Electra looked at Ivy for a long time. She had previously placed total trust in this woman. They had laughed, worked together, and exchanged secrets till late at night. Now, every memory felt like a lie. You should have trusted me, Electra admitted finally. I do trust you. No, Electra said. If you trusted me, you would have told me the truth. Ivy didn't respond. The stillness became even longer. Outside the office window, the sun was setting lower in the sky. Electra glanced away briefly, running her hand through her hair to stabilize herself. Her rage had not subsided, but underlying it lay something far worse. Disappointment. When she confronted Ivy again, her voice had lost some of its sharpness, but the hurt remained. "I defended you," Electra explained. "Did you know that?" Ivy looked up. "Whenever someone questioned you, I informed them they were mistaken." Ivy's eyes welled up with tears. "I'm sorry." Electra shook her head slowly. "I believed in you. I wish I could change what happened." "So, do I." Another long pause fell between them. Finally, Ivy spoke again, barely above a whisper. "Is there anything I can do to make things right?" Electra considered the question. A part of her wanted to say yes. Part of her wanted to think there was a way to undo the harm. But deep down, she knew the truth. Certain items could not be mended. "You can start by being honest," Electra remarked. "I am being honest." "Then tell me everything." Ivy paused again, but only for a second. She slowly began to talk. The words came out haltingly at first, as if each one was heavier than the last. She revealed the truth she'd uncovered, why she'd kept it hidden, and how fear had influenced her decisions. Electra listened without interrupting. As the story progressed, her countenance moved from fury to shock and back again. Ivy finished, and the room felt different. The truth had changed everything. However, it had not eradicated the treachery. Electra stood there for a long time, taking in what she had heard. Finally, she breathed softly. "You should have told me," she repeated. "I know. From the beginning. I know." Electra searched Ivy's face for the lady she believed she recognized. Perhaps she was still there, beneath the dread and blunders. Perhaps not. "I need time," Electra explained. Ivy nodded. "I understand." Electra approached the door. Just before leaving, she halted and looked back. The fury in her eyes had subsided slightly, but the distance between them was apparent. 6 words, Electra replied gently. Ivy appeared confused. That's all it took for everything to change. She opened the door. "And I don't know if anything will ever be the same again." With that, Electra walked out into the corridor, leaving Ivy alone in the dimming light of the office, alone with the echo of a slap, the sting of 6 indelible words, and the shattering awareness that some truths come far too late.